अच्छा आपको हिस्ट्री है, किसी का पीएस आ गया था शायद, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, आपका था? ओके, सम अदर पर्सन आल्सो वाज हैविंग दिस. So you have to understand all these terms. उस terms के without you won't be able to get the whole essence कि बोलना क्या चाह रहा है, what is the essence of it. ठीक है? Strategic, geopolitical, dynamics, right? So all these terms are important. So what we'll do in today's class, we'll not start with anything, we'll start with only the dictionary of these terms. ठीक है? One by one we'll just discuss and we will see. You want to write in this class also, you want to just understand. Understanding is more important. You want notes also, I'll give you the printed notes. ठीक है? या फिर I'll give you the online PDF. That is much better. That is much better. PDF पे आपको अपलोड करा दूंगी, ठीक है, on the portal, and then you can access it from there. ठीक है? And then you can have. I'll tell them because I'm not the person who's actually uploading it. The concerned team will do that. I'll tell them to upload it on both the medias. Okay? I'll tell them. Okay? That is not an issue. Okay? Because you have had enough of writing in environment. Okay. So the first thing we are going to start with anarchy. What do you mean by anarchy? Anarchy क्या होता है? What do you mean by anarchy? What do you understand by anarchy? Anarchy का मतलब क्या है? It's A. We are starting from the alphabetical order. Starting from A, we'll go to Z. बताइए. Correct. अपने आप से तो there is no, हाँ, there is no less of order in that, right? So can I say international relation is sometimes said to take place under condition of anarchy, that is in the absence of world government, right? When you do not have a government, ठीक है? तो जब आपका कोई ऊपर का government ही नहीं है, so things are going on randomly. So what that state you call it as? In which country it is happening more often? Africa में it's happening more often. African countries I'm talking about, African continent की countries के अंदर it's happening more often, right? So without one and because countries band together only in voluntary international organization like UN. So anarchy means generally that you do not have a systematic world government, right? हाँ, मतलब you have autonomy, मतलब आपकी जैसे अभी countries, our countries having what autonomy, right? एक location है, you have a fixed boundary, etc. That is also needs to be defined. ठीक है? We'll gradually understand all this. Do not worry about it. ठीक है? Okay. Now, what do you mean by annexation? I think with this term you must have read in history also. What is annexation? That is assassination that you're talking. I'm talking about annexation. Annexation. Annexation means to acquire a land by forceful means. पहले history में you must have heard that they have annexed an area. ठीक है? Kingdom भी, area भी, territory भी, island भी, oceans का कोई आपका part है उस आपके EEZ में आ रहा है, anything. So annexation means to acquire something forcefully, right? Simply. Okay. Okay, what do you understand by arms control? Arms control. Correct. Control of weapons, right? When you want to control the weapons, because you do not want that people should have more of weapons. Recently, in which context? See, weapons can be, yes, Taliban. So weapons can be different from, right? As the time changes, your weapon strategy also changes. Earlier, we used to use that bhala, right? What you called it in English? Huh? SPEAR. Okay, spear, right? Next we had what? We had guns. Then we had a advanced form of it. Then next what we have? We had bombs. Now we have nuclear weapons. And next biological weapons also. Yes, chemical weapons also. The forms can be different. So the control of all this is known as what? Arms control, right? And why do you want to protect all this? to maintain peace so that one country should not have the hegemony. Recently, which country had this? We had the speculation, not only speculation, we had the evidences also. This country is having the base of it, nuclear base. Which country was attacked recently? Iran. Iran was attacked, right? Because they had a nuclear bases, right? Okay. And they keep on doing this enrichment program. ठीक है, एक लेवल होता है कि आपको यूरेनियम जो है इस अमाउंट से ज्यादा आप एनरिच करके रखेंगे, दैट मीन्स उसका पर्पस ही यही है कि आपको किस लिए यूज कर रहे हैं आप, फॉर द डिस्ट्रक्शन, ठीक है, दैट इज नॉट अलाउड. Okay, now I'm reading the statement. Efforts to limit the proliferation of weapons, especially nuclear ones, through negotiated settlements. Arms control agreements may limit the number and kind of weapons, may ban or slow the development of technologies for military purpose. ठीक है, कोई problem इसमें? Okay. Now, what is arms race? Correct. Advanced weapon banane wala. But what is this race is between going on? Between two countries. Did you remember any time in the history where the Russia and USA, they had a major weapon race, right? आपने ये बनाया, then I'll make this. I'm sending a person on the moon, I will also send this. I'm having this satellite, I will also make it. So this is what they are. They had this, right? अभी भी है, अभी भी है. When you see that when Putin went to meet uh, president of USA, Trump, right? So how he had taken all these those yes, aircraft, etc. Then they were yeah, they were very very advanced, right? This is called what? This used to happen earlier also, right? Right, in the history also this used to happen. This is not a new thing, but and with what else medium we try to show this? और क्या क्या mediums होते हैं ये दिखाने के? In which occasion? Yes, Republic Day. We do that a lot, right? We try to bring it to the world that we have this, we have that. That is what? A show game, that's not show off, the show game that the two countries having, right? That they are very much what? Stable, and that very much, yes, they are, they have these weapons with them, and then if something happens, then they are ready. Okay. Now, what is arms trade? That is a word itself is telling that we are exchanging what? The technology between the two countries. Okay, recently we have taken what? Rafale and S, what else? S-400. From where we have taken this? Okay. So, what we have to understand that, हाँ, वो दूसरा वाला फ्रांस से लिया, correct. So that is what we have to understand, that if two countries are exchanging the technology, then they are coming together so that they can be a super, right? No, not superpower, but they can have the stability in that particular area. For example, if we talk about Asia, right, that particular area. So if we are joining hands with Russia, that means what? There's somebody who can be with us at that point of time. Okay, and history has proven that Russia has been with us, right, many times. Okay. Apart from that, can you give me one example from history or recently? Arms trade has happened. Hmm. कैसे? हाँ, correct. Yes, yes, yes. No. So they are saying वो अलग केस, हाँ, वो भी कह सकते हैं आप कि Saudi Arabia, any attack on Pakistan will be considered as an attack on Saudi Arabia. That was the statement in the news. Clause तो बाद में आएंगे, but one can when reads the headline, then they will assume that Saudi Arabia is with Pakistan. So that is what they have joined hands recently. ठीक है? Okay. Now next is your what do you mean by balance of power? Hmm. Okay, so balance of power means no one country dominates the another country. Okay, then this country is having this, so this country is having another potential, right? In the another sector maybe, and then see at the same time this country is also trying to build on the sectors which it is not strengthened at. Okay, so when we are trying to bring both the countries on a same level. So that is what, not one country is dominating the other country. That is known as balance of power. So the condition in which no country predominates over other, usually this much contested term implies an unequal distribution of power among the states that comprise the international system. In such system, balance is maintained by alliances. Can you tell me one example where balances is maintained by alliances? हाँ NATO और alliance वो एक alliance है. Then this regional organization, very good. Now earlier they used to be very powerful G7, right? Now we have G20, right? What else? Asian BRICS, right? SCO, yes, sir. Then SARC, Quad, हाँ, yes, non-alignment, right? Movement. Then no, how what I'm trying to tell is that if it's versus, right? अगर ये हमारे पास है तो ये आपके पास है तो how can you tell me which, like I said that G7 is there, so here we are having BRICS, right? G20. Now G20 is also getting very powerful with the every year, right? Okay, with a lot of people participating, I mean countries. What do you mean by balkanization? Have you heard this word balkanization? What do you mean by balkanization? करेक्ट, एक कंट्री का आपकी बहुत सारे डिवीजन हो जाना, दैट इज नोन एज बाल्कनाइजेशन. तो दिस इज सिंपली मींस डिवीजन. ठीक है. टर्म यूज्ड टू डिस्क्राइब आपका यूगोस्लाविया का एरिया जो था, हाँ, दैट वाज बाल्कनाइज्ड. ठीक है. डू यू नो वेयर इज यूगोस्लाविया? ओके. Okay, what is BRI, Belt and Road Initiative? What is that? हाँ, चाइना ने बनाया. For what? Recently, there is this, yes, Meloni of Italy. They have said that we are not going to participate in your Italy in BRICS, right? So there are countries that have to participate. Earlier they were participating. Many of them said no. Many of them said yes, and then they said no. So there were many countries who did like that. So can you tell me that what is the purpose of BRICS? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, not BRICS. It is Belt and Road Initiative. BRI. BRI. It is Road Initiative. BRI. Smooth transportation. And so, can you see they are trying to build a different path? Huh? How? No. BRI. Belt and Road Initiative. Right? It was started and it's funded by China. And then the countries which are it has collaborated with. Can you tell me our neighborhood country which has collaborated with the BRI? And Afghanistan. Then they are taking what? They are taking the places and they are building the infrastructure. And by the infrastructure, what they will do? The transportation would be smooth, the better connectivity and the autonomy would be there on those areas and sectors. Otherwise, we had which area where we had used to have a lot of trade, which uh, no, Malacca Strait, right? Malacca Strait is one of the busiest area, right? And it is having the 60% to 65% of trade happening every year. One of the most busiest place, right? Roughly 60 to 65% trade is happening from that area. Okay? And if it's happening from that area, what does it mean? That the dependency of all the people would be there. What if someday that is stopped. See, any kind of dependency, whether it's transportation, whether it's any other else, right? For example, weapons, or maybe for any small thing. If you are dependent, then what do you mean? We are not autonomous in many ways, right? So we have to. So what China is doing, they are making their own routes for so that if someday even that area is also closed, right? Then they had their other path to transport it to different countries. Okay, and also that route is very shorter. See, the route that they are taking, it's going to take a lot of time to go from this area to European countries. Can you see? Can you just imagine that how it is? So they have to just go like this and go to the European countries like that. Now this route is really shorter. Okay, this route is really shorter than as compared to that. Okay. Now I'm just reading it out. The centerpiece of China's foreign policy under Jinping. Since 2013, China has given or promised hundreds of billions of dollars in loans and grants for power plants, ports, railway. It's a multimodal. Do you understand multimodal? What do you mean by that? Yes, different modes. Railways भी होगा उसमें आपका yes, by road भी होगा आपका, by ship भी होगा. Everything will be there. ठीक है. कुछ नहीं. एक सेकेंड. So Latin America, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Europe. In 2017, he gave the political status by having it written into the Communist Party's constitution. अब पूछिए क्या पूछ रहे हैं. हम्म. हाँ, वो शॉर्टर रूट है. कहाँ कहाँ से वो नहीं पढ़ना है आपको, कहाँ कहाँ से जाएगा. आपको बस ये देखना है उसका पर्पस क्या है और क्यों बनाया गया है. बस ये देखो शॉर्टर रूट है. हाँ हाँ राइट. ठीक है. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय बायलैटरल? Bilateral, yes, when two countries are involved, right? Only the ties between two countries. Bilateral negotiation, bilateral agreement, bilateral discussion. ठीक है. You must have heard about it many times. आपने newspapers में पढ़ा होगा that you will have these terms. ठीक है. Okay. उसी तरह से होता है multilateral and unilateral. ठीक है. Anybody who is not getting these terms, please, this is important. यूनिलैटरल सिर्फ यूनि मीन्स क्या होता है, वन. ठीक है. आपने खुद डिसीजन लिया. यूनिलैटरल कभी कभी आप देखोगे दिस कंट्री हैज टेकन यूनिलैटरल डिसीजन, अपने आप ले लिया, बात डिस्कशन ही नहीं हुआ सामने वाली कंट्री से. ठीक है. व्हेन यू आर नॉट डिस्कसिंग विद दिस अदर कंट्री, दैट मीन्स यूनिलैटरल यू हैव टेकन द डिसीजन. Bilateral means when two countries are involved. Multilateral means multi means many, when many countries are involved. ठीक है. All right. Now uni means one. नहीं नहीं नहीं, यूनिलैटरल मीन्स खुद खुद आपने डिसीजन ले लिया. वो मल्टीलैटरल है जो आप बोल रहे हो कि सबकी कंसेंसस के साथ. यूनिलैटरल मीन्स विद योर ओन, यस, आपने खुद ही डिसीजन ले लिया. ठीक है. ओके, आपका आ गया वो टर्म दैट इज नोन एज बायोलॉजिकल वेपन. We have discussed about this the use of living organism or the toxins they produce to harm an enemy. The ancient Greeks are thought to have put animal corpse in. This is just an example from the previous time. No need to go into that. Do we have the biological weapon convention? But does it work? Did it work? In 2019, we had the apprehension that it was China who has actually did this, and there were evidences that came out that there was something was happening in China, and way before that only the COVID-19 hit China before it spread to different parts of the country. And there is WHO is also blaming China, and many times they have blamed that. They have also released a report on the same, blaming them and telling about the evidences. बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग रिपोर्ट है. समटाइम्स इफ यू गेट टाइम जस्ट गो थ्रू इट. सो जब ये सब चीजें हो रही हैं, so it is very important to have the convention, right, so that they should be stopped. But do you think it will be stopped like that? Right, because it is very unpredictable also, because it's such a big thing happened, but then also we are not able to blame it China, or maybe China is not able to already accept what they have done. So the thing is that it is weak international oversight that exacerbates the danger from biological weapons. Although the UN's Biological Weapon Convention bans their development or use, there is no way to verify if countries are complying. Only 3 people work on the convention full time with the budget of $1.5 million a year. Okay? I'll write about this convention in detail in the notes. Okay? Now, what do you mean by bipolar world? Huh? What do you mean by bipolar worlds? They are two center of powers. Okay. Can we go to the history and understand this? Okay. Okay. 1945. What happened? World War. खत्म हो गया. United Nations. 1991 तक. 1945 तक से 1991 तक there was a period of bipolar. Bi means two, right? When you had two people who were actually running the world, right? Your USA was promoting what? Capitalism. And USSR was promoting socialism. Now you had how many blocks? You had two blocks, right? 1 and 2. Now they were trying to portray what? Their own ideology. Okay? Now what USA wanted at every country, what they wanted that the country should promote what? Democracy. They should have a democratic government. Right? हाँ. अब मुझे आप ये बताइए that if this is from USA and USSR, how they were trying to project their power at that point of time, that they were bipolar. We consider them as bipolar, how they wanted to and how they were actually projecting their power. Groups बना देते. नहीं, groups बनाने से नहीं. What else? हाँ, correct. Arms race में थे. उसके अलावा what else? USSR was expanding, right? They were putting a lot of money and they were expanding like anything. And even now they are doing, right? Russia is following the policy what they have done way back. Again, they are trying to expand. They want to annex Ukraine. Anyhow, they want that, right? So don't you think it's a kind of what they were doing? Now, expansion has its cost. What cost? Cold War era, right? So they had the cost, and now also they are having. Don't you think that Russia is putting a lot of money, investing a lot of things in order to annex Ukraine? They are doing that, and that's what they did at this point of time also, right? But in between this period, what happened? They both were fighting in sense not literally fighting, but they were having a cold war, right? For example, if one is sending their person to the moon, the other will also send. If one is releasing the satellite, the other will also release. If they are making some weapon, they will also make. If they are maintaining some nuclear deterrence, that the word is known as nuclear deterrence, then they will also want to create a or make a nuclear deterrence for them for the people. I mean for the world. Okay, so this is what happening. Up क्या हुआ? USSR actually got collapsed in 1991, right? Why it collapsed? There were many reasons behind that, but some of the reasons which I can explain you at this point of time are: first is too much of expansion, right? When they try to expand their territories, etc., they actually what? They overburden themselves, overburdened in the terms of economy, right? Because when you have to expand, you also have to take care of the people, also have to take care of all the territories. So they actually collapsed, right? So the countries which are part of that federation, they got out of it, right? So उनका size क्या हो गया? फिर से छोटा, ठीक है? As compared to what they had. Not literally they got into a very very small size, but relatively what they were. And now in 1991, what happened? उसके बाद the period was USA had its own good time from 1991 to 2001, right? They had great time, right? In the terms of technology, in the terms of dominance, in the terms of, because only one person is there, so you call it as unipolar world. They had greatest of greatest time in this period, in this exchange of technology, in the um, in the name of hegemony, etc. They were doing a lot of things at this point of time. Now, from 1991 to 2001, they was fine. Now, what happened in 2001? 9/11 attack, right? And from there, what they understood, what they actually understood. So, see, with USA becoming a unipolar, they also trying to project something else. The first thing, that capitalist society or the capitalism is one of the greatest ideology. सिर्फ यूएसए यूनिपोलर बनने से सिर्फ ये नहीं दिख रहा था कि यूएसए is having an edge over the other countries, but they were also trying to put that the capitalist is one of the greatest ideology that one can have. ठीक है, एक सेकंड फ्लो टूट जाएगा, रुक जाओ. So 1991 में, so 2001 they had what, greatest what, there was I, that is what I said. हाँ, capitalist क्या हो गया, नहीं, बीच में मतलब जब खत्म करूं देन यू आस्क द डाउट्स, ठीक है. तो 1991 से 2001 तक they were trying to project that they were having an edge over the other. So कैपिटलिस्ट से सिर्फ ये नहीं दिख रहा था कि आप कैपिटलिस्ट हो, आपसे ये भी दिख रहा था कि डेमोक्रेटिक जो गवर्नेंस फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस है. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज अ डिफरेंट फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस, राइट? हाउ मेनी फॉर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नेंस दैट वी हैव? हाँ, one is democratic, one is monarchy, next is, yes, monarchy is one of that only. Yes, you can say that. Huh? Yes, presidential. So there are different types of government that one has, right? So they were trying to project that the one where the actually the head is elected, right, in a fair mean, वो आपका क्या है, वो डेमोक्रेसी है. अब आप उसको किस तरह से कर रहे हैं आपका मर्जी है, डायरेक्ट वे में कर रहे हैं, इनडायरेक्ट वे में कर रहे हैं, दैट इज डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑल टुगेदर, ठीक है. So that they were trying to project, but in 2001 what happened, there was 9/11 attack. जब 9/11 attack हुआ, then again that come into the spotlight that they are also the one who cannot stop the terrorist attack, right? Because the terrorism was at peak in at that point of time also, and there, from there on, what happened? It started declining because they started questioning. People started questioning the existence of this ideology also, and different ways also. For example, democracy also, because they are also not trying. See, any ideology is as good as anything till the time they are able to protect its people, right? तब तक ही सही है. अब उस आइडियोलॉजी का क्या मतलब जो लोगों को प्रोटेक्ट ना कर पाए. सो यूएसए में जब वो अटैक हुआ, you just read about that also, that people starting the existence, people starting saying if we are having a monarchy government and we are able to protect our people, that is much good than having a democratic government. So there's again conflict which happened. उसके बाद हुआ आपका 2007. इससे पहले बहुत कुछ हुआ 1998 में, ठीक है, that I'm not going into. 2007 में क्या हुआ आपका? Recession, right? Very good. 2007 to 2008 you had a, मतलब 2008 में exactly peak आ गया था उसका. You had a Lehman Brother crisis, right? Lehman Brother crisis के बाद again people started questioning what is this, we were relying on USA that they are building, they are governing everything, सब कुछ हो रहा है. So what is this now? Financially भी पहले कैसे आपको threat wise security of the people was got into question in 2001. Then financial security got into question in 2007 with the Lehman Brothers crisis. Have you heard about that? मैंने पिछली बार भी डिस्कस किया था when you said I'll read about it. फिर यही बोला था. ठीक है, Lehman Brothers crisis, ठीक है. So Lehman Brothers crisis was the one where the global recession, the result of that was global recession because lot many things happen in that. Now after that, इस तक यहाँ तक the China was very peaceful, right? Peaceful rise of China. We call this period, यहाँ तक का period as a peaceful rise of China. उसके बाद after 2008, it is known for its expansionist policies. China, ठीक है. Then all the countries, many countries then came. China is one of them. They also trying to project their power. They were rising like anything. USA भी, Russia भी, everyone, Japan. So now we are calling it as a multipolar world. अब आया समझ में कि what I am trying to tell you, ठीक है. And this whole game of international relation, and now again Trump is again trying to tell, he's coming with the concept of MAGA, which you call it as Make America Great Again, right? So see, that is not going to happen in one day. Abhi kal hi kya hua hai? What has happened? H1B visas have got what? Additional tax of $1 lakh. That means if you convert it into rupees, it is 80 lakh roughly, or I can say 1 crore. ठीक है, roughly 1 crore. ठीक है, fine. Earlier there used to be no additional charges, zero. Additional charges में zero थे, बाकी आपकी cost थे, जो भी आपका visas होते थे उसकी cost थे. They are actually 3 slabs. इस तरह से था. Right, if you have gone through the news, the slabs were like this. ठीक है. So we used to have, for example, $280. Exactly इतना ही था. $280 for something. Then $780 for something. वो अभी भी 780 है. एडिशनल फी यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं था. एडिशनल फी था यहाँ पे $0. और अभी एडिशनल फी कितना है? 1 crore. $1 lakh. Can you see the difference? जीरो से कितना कहाँ आ गए हम? Yes, $100,000. And that is what he is trying to project, that I want to make America great again. Most of the people, and if very skilled people, highly talented people only can come into the America. He's trying to make America aspirational again. There was a news which I was going through. The America is no longer for Desi Indians. That was the news in India today, which come with the headlines. I was just reading in the morning only. So it is no longer for the Desi Indians. Now you have to pay the charges. And if you are going for the work, like for example, if some Google or Amazon is hiring you, then what they will have to pay? Obviously, अगर आपके पास नहीं है, हमारे Indians के पास, तो then they have to make arrangement for it. Then they have to give this. उसके ऊपर they will make what? Salary भी देंगे आपको. So can you imagine the whole cost of company? The cost of an employee for the company, right? CTC, exactly. So it is going to be very, very high. So क्या करेंगे हम? Better होगा Americans को हम हायर कर लें, राइट. सो जो ट्रांजिशन है ये कैसा है? फोर्सफुल भी कह सकते हो आप. एंड नाउ क्या डेडलाइन दिया है? 21 September. टुडे इज 22nd. Within a very short period they have said come back to America. इतने कम short period में they said कि you have to come back, and it's not possible for a lot of people to come so early. Otherwise you have to pay आज से, because it has to be imposed from 21st September midnight, I suppose, right? So they have to pay then this charges, right? I'm not having a clarity because a lot of people were not having the clarity because they just released it. सबको लगा कि annual है या फिर एक one time fee है. Now it's an annual, because what I read in Times today, what I read in India today, it was annual. But a lot of people are also saying it's one time. One time आया हिंदू में. That has to be discussed because in India today and Times of India it was annual. ठीक है. हाँ, न्यू एप्लीकेंट्स के लिए एंड आई गेस रिन्यूअल्स के लिए है या नहीं, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर नॉट श्योर अबाउट इट. ठीक है. सो देन अगेन ही वांट्स टू गो बैक टू दैट एरा कि हम वी आर समथिंग. अब मेगा बहुत चीजों से वो बनाना चाह रहे हैं. ये एक चीज है बिकॉज वी हैव दिस हैज कम रिसेंटली इन द न्यूज. आर यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट? कौन बोल रहे हैं? हाँ बताइए. हाँ हाँ अच्छा अच्छा, क्या? हाँ बताओ न्यूज। हाँ हाँ। अच्छा, तो व्हाट ही वाज डूइंग, पूरा बताओ ना। हाँ हाँ हाँ। ओ अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा। अच्छा, आई रीड अबाउट हिम, आई रीड अबाउट हिम। अच्छा, फिर क्या हुआ? लेट मी हियर। नो, आई हैव नॉट गॉन थ्रू दिस। ओके, ठीक है। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एक्चुअली गॉट द एसेंस? पूरा समझ में नहीं आया होगा बिकॉज बहुत सारा बीच बीच में लूपहोल्स हैं, जैसे लेमन ब्रदर्स नहीं समझ आया होगा, लेकिन पूरा ओवरऑल स्टोरी समझ आई? फ्रेमवर्क समझ आया नहीं आया, ये बताओ पहले। फ्रेमवर्क आया समझ में? एवरीवन, एटलीस्ट फ्रेमवर्क समझ में आया? कुछ कुछ चीजें नहीं आई होंगी बीच में, जो अभी आपने शायद वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री वगैरह बहुत डिटेल्स में डिटेल में नहीं पढ़ा है, तो कोई बात नहीं। कैसा बताइए? हाँ। अच्छा, नहीं उसको देखिए, लेमन ब्रदर्स एक क्राइसिस था, ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस था। अब वो हुआ कैसे, उसके लिए हमें इकोनॉमी में जाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। अगर आपको समझ आए, आई एम रेडी टू गिव इट। देखिए, सो व्हाट हैपेंड, पीपल टुक लोन्स, ठीक है, फ्रॉम द बैंक्स, और ये लोग बैंक से लोन लेने लगे, ठीक है, टू मेक द बिल्डिंग्स एक्सेट्रा, सब कुछ। अब वो भी विदाउट कोलैटरल्स, कुछ केसेस में विदाउट कोलैटरल्स। अब जब विदाउट कोलैटरल्स देते हैं, और कोलैटरल समझते हो आप, राइट? विदाउट कोलैटरल्स देते हैं तो क्या होगा, द चांसेस ऑफ गेटिंग द मनी बैक इज लेस, ठीक है। अब सिमिलरली, they also, European countries are also dependent like that on the banks of अमेरिका। अब जब ये वाला बैंक कोलैप्स हुआ, बिकॉज दे वर नॉट गेटिंग द मनी बैक, जब आपने मनी लिया आपको मनी वापस करना पड़ेगा ना। इफ द पीपल विल नॉट एबल टू गिव दैट बैक, सो व्हाट विल हैपन, द कोलैप्स विल हैपन। जब ये कोलैप्स होगा तो इस पे भी इफेक्ट आएगा, बिकॉज यूरोप के भी बैंक्स इस पे डिपेंडेंट है, बाकी कंट्रीज के बैंक्स भी इस पे डिपेंडेंट है, राइट? एंड देन द चेन विल फॉलो, राइट? ये बहुत शॉर्ट टर्म में मैंने आपको बहुत शॉर्ट वे में बताया, राइट? बेसिक नॉर्म्स उसके बाद ही फिर आपका बना था। नहीं नहीं, यूएसए फेडरल रिजर्व, फेडरल, यस। हाँ, एक बार पढ़ना इसके बारे में जाके, ठीक है। ओके, कितने लोगों को समझ आया? ठीक है। क्या हुआ, वन टाइम है, कैसा है? एनुअल है ना, मैंने भी एनुअल पढ़ा है हर जगह। ऐसे नहीं बोलते। हो जाता है कंफ्यूजन, कोई बात नहीं। हाँ, क्योंकि ये कंफ्यूजन कल तक भी था मुझे कि एनुअल है वन टाइम, क्योंकि मैंने टाइम से पढ़ा तो इट वाज एनुअल। दिखाइए। हाँ, लास्ट पैरा। यहाँ पे लिखा है, यहाँ पे वन टाइम फी। हाँ, एनुअल बोला है। देखो, एक होगा कि जब आप रेन्यू, आपके कितने मंथ ईयर के लिए होता है वीजा, कितने ईयर के लिए है ये वीजा? 3 इयर्स। कितना है? 3 इयर्स है, क्या है प्लीज सी। व्हाट इज द टर्म, व्हाट इज द टाइम पीरियड? 3 इयर्स ना, राइट? या तो ये होगा कि जब आप रिन्यू करा रहे हो तो आपको देना पड़ेगा, या फिर जब आपने ले लिया एक बार, अब 3 इयर्स के टाइम स्पेन में 1 ईयर 1 ईयर 1 ईयर, टोटल यू आर गिविंग 3 करोड़। या तो ऐसे है, या फिर वन टाइम, लाइक नेक्स्ट बार जब रिन्यूअल कराओगे फिर से 1 करोड़, राइट? अब आप देख के मुझे बताइए कि अब, आई मीन दिस हैज टू बी फिगर्ड आउट। हाँ, this is a confusion for everyone now. एग्जाम्पल, हाँ बताओ। हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल। हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल, क्योंकि ना चेन ऑफ थॉट ऐसे टूट जाता है कि मैं कुछ समझा रहा हूँ। बेसल, अच्छा, हाँ, हाँ, ठीक है, पक्का। ओके, हो गया डिस्कशन क्या? हाँ, कुछ ऐसा भी हो सकता है, ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो सकता है। Guys, listen, everyone. See, this is a point of confusion for lot many people, not only you. ठीक है? So we can just keep this discussion on hold for some time till the time the press of USA releases something. ठीक है? You just keep an eye on what he is saying. हो सकता है कल वो कुछ और बोल दे because he is unpredictable. ठीक है? Okay, don't worry. Okay, guys, go to now Britain Woods. Next topic. हम ब्रिटेन वुड्स डिस्कस करें सर, ठीक है? ओके, ब्रिटेन वुड्स इंस्टीट्यूशन क्या है, व्हाट इज दिस? देखिए, इस ब्रिटेन वुड्स में क्या आया था आपका, 3 इंस्टीट्यूशन फॉर्म हुए थे, एक आईएमएफ, एक वर्ल्ड बैंक। व्हाट इज आईएमएफ? इंटरनेशनल मॉनेटरी फंड। व्हाट इज दिस फॉर फंडिंग डिफरेंट कंट्रीज इन द projects and what infrastructure build. Recently they have given to our neighborhood country Pakistan and who else? श्रीलंका, करेक्ट, राइट। उसको कहते हैं, देयर आर मेनी इफ यू गो टू द स्लैब्स स्ट्रक्चरल, अगर कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है कंट्री में, हमने भी लिया था 1991 में, we have also taken that from IMF and they have certain policies that one country has to follow. अब डिटेल में नहीं जाना चाहती, but I'll just tell you the points that one has to do certain things. For example, opening of certain sectors for the private for the privatization, right? You cannot keep your economy very conserved, reserved for close नहीं कर सकते आप अपनी economy उस केस के अंदर, because they will give you some guidelines, so you have to follow that guidelines only, then there will be a signing etc will be done, ठीक है? So one is IMF, then is World Bank, and then you have general agreement on tariffs and trades which later become WTO, ठीक है? So overall how many institution we had in that? World Bank, IMF and WTO, ठीक है? Okay, now that comes next, B said Brexit. What is that? Britain exit किससे किया था? What is European Union? What do you understand by European Union? एक साथ किस वे में है? Currency and free trade between what? हाँ? See, when you make something as, see, this is European Union. So you're trying to create what? One union. In union, what is happening? Different countries are there. So if one good has to be transported to different country, so do you think that they will take charge? There's a free movement of everything which is happening. Trade is happening between the two countries. Your currency is same. What happens with this? जब आपका free movement होता है, आपका countries का वो same होता है, for example, currency is same, what happens then? The confusion is less, the blocks that you get, right? The barricades that you get are less, right? So, barriers are less, right? The barriers are less, then what happens? Economy grow करती है because there is more of what? Profits which happen because बीच में इनको ज़्यादा taxes नहीं देते. Otherwise, USA में, sorry, I'm not saying USA, Europe में earlier there used to be so much of tax from one country to another country. The Poland, for example, has to send something to Germany, then they had to pay lot of taxes, right? So they said that no, we are not going to do that. अब हम क्या करेंगे, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एक यूनियन बनाएंगे अपना, जिसके अंदर विल हैव सेम करेंसी, फ्री ट्रेड of goods, and what else? Yes, whatever one country is following, the other country will also follow, right? Pounds, हाँ, right, right. So this will happen. अच्छा, अब इसके क्या क्या बेनिफिट्स हैं, क्या बेनिफिट्स होंगे, कंफ्यूजन लेस, नेक्स्ट। हाँ, और करेक्ट, 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 ये वीजास का भी इशू नहीं होगा। और हाँ, रेड टेप, ओके, रेड टेपिज्म कम होगा, वेरी गुड। और कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स कैसे, जैसे करेक्ट, ठीक है। हाँ, बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी में भी कोई ज्यादा इशू आपका होगा नहीं, ठीक है। So now Brexit means now UK said that I don't want to be the part of it any longer, right? In 2016 this happened, that they said that we are quitting from EU because they thought that they want to independently run everything and they wanted to have autonomy of their decision. For example, they can make their independent, otherwise they have to follow EU for their decision. Whatever decisions they are making, they have to follow them. And if some country they do not want to do this, then they have to take a exit out of it. You have to also see which all countries have been the part of EU recently. You see that there are many countries. That is also important because someday they can ask you that EU ka part ye hai, for example, your Sweden, etc., right? Albania, they all are part. So you can just have a look at it. There are many countries. Okay. So what next? Okay, I'll read for you. Britain's departure from European Union in 2016 following a referendum in, अच्छा हाँ, सी द फोर्स हुआ था 2020 में, रेफरेंडम आया था 2016 में, ठीक है। Various forms of soft Brexit would have kept close ties with EU, but Britain opted to leave the single market, causing complications in Northern Ireland while making cross-border trade more bureaucratic and costly. The economic pain endured by Britain post-Brexit all but ended talk of leave it, ठीक है। Next is your BRICS. BRICS पता है आपको, what is that? It's again an alliance between Brazil, Russia, ठीक है, और भी कंट्रीज ने उसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया रिसेंटली, मेनी कंट्रीज हैव जॉइंड आफ्टर दैट, ठीक है, राइट। तो आप उसको एक बार देखना, ठीक है। अभी हम सिर्फ बी भी कवर नहीं कर पाए हैं। नोट्स कुछ भी नहीं है, ब्रिक्स क्या है, डिफरेंट कंट्रीज आगे बताया था उन्होंने, ब्राजील, रशिया, इंडिया, हाँ, इसमें कुछ समझ नहीं, वो आप खुद देखो, वो उसमें लिखा होगा नोट्स में, ठीक है। ओके, पहले हमारा पर्पस है टू अंडरस्टैंड द रिलेशन बिटवीन द कंट्रीज, वेयर वी अंडरस्टैंड इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस क्यों पढ़ते हैं हम लोग। जैसे इंडिया का रिलेशन वी विल ट्राई टू सी विद यूएसए, देन विद यूरोप, देन विद अदर नेबरहुड कंट्रीज, देन विद रशिया, विद चाइना। सबसे पहले हम ये कवर करेंगे, उसके बाद जो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उसका आपको मिल जाएगा इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, देन यू कैन सी दैट, ठीक है। ओके, civil war, you know, right? Climate change, you know, we have done that. Cold war, we have done. Conventions आपको पता ही है, कॉप्स पता है आपको, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज है ना, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज याद है ना, राइट। ओके, व्हाट इज डेट डिप्लोमेसी, डेट ट्रैप, यस राइट, चाइना करता है, व्हाट दे डू, क्यों कैसे डालते हैं डेट में? पहले बहुत ज्यादा मनी, हाँ, financially support. So recently what they have done, not recently, but they have done it very early on early basis. What they tried to take an area. There's a Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, so they have tried to say that we'll restructure it, we'll put a lot of money, and then Sri Lanka was also happy. Okay, invest, and we are happy to be you if you invest in that. So what will happen then? The presence of Chinese will be more at that place, and Indian Ocean being a very strategic location for not only India but for the other countries as well. Now the presence of China is very detrimental in that area, because China अगर वहाँ पे है, so that means they are for some purpose. और हम्बनटोटा पोर्ट क्या है, वहाँ पे उन्होंने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया, and then it was so investment was so high, then Sri Lanka could not repay them, right? Then again they were getting into trap. Ultimately वो क्यों ऐसे करते हैं कि they cannot pay, right? And then ultimately what they will say, ठीक है आप हमारा पोर्ट ले लो, right? Take our port because we can't give you in money, right? So just take some asset. So what is asset for the country? The territory, right? So ultimately what will happen? China will take that. Okay. There are also the rumors that a lot of like Myanmar coup which happened, right? That was also because of the Chinese interference, right? So if this is happening, then what happens that they want to topple the government. जब वो टॉपल करेंगे किसी भी एरिया की गवर्नमेंट को थ्रू फाइनेंशियली और थ्रू पॉलिटिकली, देन दे विल हैव अ बेटर व्हाट एज, हाँ, कंट्रोल ओवर देम, ठीक है? तो कंट्रोल उनका बहुत बड़ा एक वो है. अभी रिसेंटली एक शोल था स्कारबोरो शोल, दैट्स अ कंटेंशियस इशू बिटवीन टू कंट्रीज विच इज फिलीपींस एंड चाइना. चाइना कहता है ये हमारा आइलैंड है, फिलीपींस कहता है ये हमारी एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन के अंदर आता है, एंड दिस इज आवर एरिया. नाउ चाइना क्या करता है, दे आर सेइंग वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक अ नेचर रिजर्व हियर, हम नेचर रिजर्व बनाएंगे यहाँ पे इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोटेक्ट इट. नाउ यूएसए भी इसको डिनाई करता है. यूएसए एंड फिलीपींस आर joining hands in this because USA they also do not want that China's presence should be there in the Southeast Asia and East Asia. वो भी नहीं चाहते, स्पेशली साउथ चाइना सी, राइट? दे डू नॉट वांट दैट. अगर उनका प्रेजेंस हुआ सो दैट इज वेरी डिट्रीमेंटल फॉर अदर कंट्रीज एज वेल. और हु इज कीपिंग अ ट्रैक ऑफ दैट? यूएसए नेवल बेसिस. कहाँ पे है यूएसए नेवल बेसिस? जापान के पास और कुछ आपकी फिलीपींस के पास भी. दे कीप अ ट्रैक ऑफ इट, ठीक है? हाँ, साउथ कोरिया में भी है बट मेजरली इन जापान ऑल्सो इट इज देयर. दे कीप अ ट्रैक ऑफ दिस, दैट क्या वो लोग कर रहे हैं, क्या उनका एक्टिविटी है, राइट? they used to make artificial islands बहुत जल्दी. artificial islands, do you understand the concept of that? ठीक है, खुद के islands नहीं है, मतलब एकदम से उन्होंने कुछ artificial islands बनाया और they will be there saying that ये हमारा zone है एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, ठीक है? क्योंकि उनको भी पता है ये एरिया बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है बहुत सारे पर्पसेस की वजह से. रेयर अर्थ मिनरल्स, your there can be lot of reserves for the of different resources, precious resources. then the shipping lanes जो ट्रैक्स है यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा डाइवर्सिफाइड है, ठीक है? तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज योर okay, deterrence. I have told you what is deterrence. What is deter? Darana, right? Deterrence means, see, one, you do it by quietly. If you have something, nobody will be able to speak to you. What is that? अगर country के पास nuclear weapons है, they will not they will think twice of doing anything wrong to you. So that is only called deterrence, nuclear deterrence. Majorly it's used in that word context, ठीक है? हाँ. Now developing, you understand what is diaspora? What is diaspora? हाँ, बाहर की. In which country we are having the maximum diaspora? Australia, right? Australia, we are having the maximum people who have gone out and they are making money there. Like our whole techies, more maximum techies are there, right? A group of people living outside of their place of origin, right? But still sharing a culture, language, or religion is known as diaspora. Diaspora networks, etc. important नहीं है. What is diplomacy? ये तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस में. से बात करना, डायलॉग से एक्सचेंज करना, हाँ, रिलेशनशिप स्पैन किस टाइप की, व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली, जहाँ पे दोनों का म्यूचुअल इंटरेस्ट, बहुत बार आप ये देखेंगे म्यूचुअल इंटरेस्ट, there is a term written everywhere, with mutual interest they have done this, right? So that is what you call it as a diplomacy. So a practice and profession of managing international relations using usually by representatives abroad. Who is the representative for India? Huh? What is his name? Okay, and who is head of this Ministry of External Affairs की वो है ना? ये विजय, what is it? Vijay Khatra or who? No, there is another person also. Wait. No, वो तो कॉमर्स के हैं. Vinay Mohan Quatra. He's a foreign secretary of India. He's still there. Yeah, he has been changed. कब? बता रहे हैं. Ah, right. He has been changed. Okay. So earlier it was Vinay uh, Mohan Quatra. Now he Shri Vikram Mistry. Okay. And this can come in prelims. ठीक है ना? Okay. What is disarmament? What is disarmament? हाँ. The movement to reduce or eliminate weapons in order to change the behavior of the states. कोई करेगा कंट्री ऐसा? देखो कोई भी आपके न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स, जब हमारा साइनिंग हुआ था तो कोई भी कंट्री आपका जो भी आपके पोजेस करते हैं न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स, वो क्या कर सकते हैं, वो ये बोल सकते हैं वी नॉट मेक द more nuclear weapons, but once they are already processing it, they will not destroy that, obviously. Okay, so they will not destroy that. Obviously, they can say, they can promise we won't make, won't try to deter the countries by more nuclear weapons. Okay. Any confusion till here? Okay. What do you mean by ethnic cleansing? Exactly. And now it is happening with? Correct. So this is known as what? Targeting one community, right? You can call this as genocide. The systematic expulsion or killing of one ethnic group by another in order to make killing grounds ethnically homogeneous. यहाँ पे सारे लोग एक जैसे, then you're trying to kill them. The term is also used of campaigns by one religious group against another. ठीक है? हिस्ट्री में हुआ है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अर्मेनियन जिनोसाइड पहले भी हुआ है, ज्यूस इज वन ऑफ दैट एग्जाम्पल. ठीक है. एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो? याद है? व्हाट इज दैट? हाँ, तो क्या मतलब है? करेक्ट. So that is our area basically, वहां तक का. ठीक है. What is a failed state? Failed state. Huh? Do you really think so? It is one of the most developed. Syria, definitely Syria. North Korea is not at all failed state. बस बाहर, हाँ, दे वेरी मच डेवलप्ड. राइट्स नहीं है, दे डोंट वांट राइट्स आल्सो, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है वो फील्ड है. दे आर नॉट से द वन हु इज डूइंग द न्यूक्लियर टेस्टिंग, आपको लग रहा है वो फील्ड है? हाँ, सीरिया इज वन. यस, सीरिया इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एग्जांपल हियर. बीच में अफगानिस्तान भी फेल्ड हो गया था, राइट? सो अभी नहीं है, इट्स नॉट नॉर्मल. श्रीलंका बीच में हो गई. सो a state that can no longer perform the basic function of government such as providing security, law enforcement, raising taxes and controlling its territory and borders, you call it as failed state. See, this is your financial crisis of 2007 to 2009. ये देखिए, that is what, because of the Lehman Brothers which happened. सुनिए, the most, guys, everyone please attention, the most severe economic downturn since depressions of the 1930s. How many of you remember the depression, German depression 1930, the Great Depression 1930? What is that? What? So what happened? Inflation बढ़ गया था, right? At that point of time, even your basic amenities you could not meet because of the high cost of everything, right? So what happened in this? A financial crisis that began, please guys, a financial crisis that began in the American mortgage market spread to the international banking sector. In the aftermath, countries worldwide imposed stricter controls over financial market, but the problems re-emerged in 2023. It is also known as the Great Recession and Global Financial Crisis. ठीक है? I can quickly cover this one alphabet. हाँ, सबका सिर्फ वर्ड्स का इंट्रो आई हैव टोल्ड, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस इन when I'm dictating something or trying to say some I'm trying to explain some context, so what happens, and you won't be able to understand these terms because international relations में जो use होता है terms that is very different. Then you have to understand कि क्या क्या terms का meaning है, then we will go with that. Okay, okay, what do you mean by first world? The countries which sided with America, okay, during the Cold War, those are known as first world. Foreign aid, you understand, when you're getting the assistance etc from the foreign. FDI, okay, done. When a foreign investor set up a new company or buys an existing one in a foreign country rather than merely investing in stocks or bonds, known as, जो stocks and bonds में करते हैं, which you call it as FPI, which is your portfolio investments, also you call them as night buy flyers, क्योंकि रातों रात गायब हो जाते हैं. ठीक है? FDI is a popular way to introduce a new technology, boost skills and create jobs in the receiving country. Okay, free trade. Free trade, कोई टैक्स नहीं लगेगा फ्री ट्रेड में. देखिए, एक होता है पॉजिटिव लिस्ट, एक होता है नेगेटिव लिस्ट. आपकी नेगेटिव लिस्ट क्या हो जाएंगी, बहुत कम हो जाएंगी फ्री ट्रेड में, ऑलमोस्ट बहुत ही नेग्लिजिबल. नेगेटिव मतलब जो आप ट्रेड नहीं कर सकते हमारे साथ, ठीक है, वो नेगेटिव होंगी. पॉजिटिव होंगी जो आप ट्रेड कर सकते हो. तो फ्री ट्रेड में नेगेटिव लिस्ट कम हो जाएगी और पॉजिटिव लिस्ट काफी ज्यादा बढ़ जाएंगी. ऐसा नहीं कि बिल्कुल ही हम सब कुछ बोल देंगे, नहीं आप जो ट्रेड करना है करिए, ऐसा नहीं है. हाँ, हाँ. Frozen conflict, because see recently what has happened, there's a free trade discussion going on with EU, right? And they are still thinking about opening their sectors for wine because they know that Europe is best in wine making, right? And the moment we open that market, then what will happen? The domestic will have the problems. The domestic manufacturers will have that problem because Indians are one of the major, they're forming the major chunk of wine consumption, the alcohol consumption, right? Okay. The last term is frozen conflict. What is a frozen conflict? Conflict, a conflict in which open and large scale fighting has stopped but no political settlement or peace treaty exists to resolve the dispute. Can you tell me one example? Yes, very good. Frozen conflict, very good. Kashmir and several territories of the former Soviet Union are examples of frozen conflict. Okay, we have completed here, and we'll try to cover the next topic. Okay, my next class is here only. Thank you so much.